All right, so we've got a really big, big potent lunar eclipse in Pisces that's coming on September 17th. So we're, depending on when you're listening to this, we're in the last few days of closing out the last 6 months of eclipses. That means that no matter how hard you struggle and try, God speaks like he cuts things out of our lives during this time that are not meant to go with us into the next sub-chapter, if you will, because astrology showcases that there's always cycles, there's always multiple layers, right? It's not just one layer or one cycle, which is why sometimes it can feel, complex, understanding the multi-dimensional aspects of, existing in our reality. And that's something that we're going to have to learn to ground into and get over those fears of having such a boundless experience with this full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces, because it deals with that boundless spiritual multidimensional nature. Now, it is the first eclipse. We still have the solar eclipse in Libra October 2nd that will follow, and then that new 6 months really starts. So that 2-week period between the 17th and the 2nd is not really a time to cement, to concrete anything into your reality. Permanent deals with people, just because it's almost like our projection of our reality, of our world, is not going to be fully factual during that time with this eclipse. And it's hard anyway when you're between eclipses, that 2-week period. Typically it's a 2-week period between eclipses. And it's such an interesting eclipse because it's hitting so much earth energy. It's landing on Neptune. We cannot get lost into our crazy schizophrenic image, subconscious, past, fucking delusional projection of what we think that is going on in our world, in our reality, in our environment. This is mostly the people that are getting fucking MK Ultra fucking squared into this political bullshit, but it's also being around anyone in your life that you feel is even remotely identified as, whether you want to call it a narcissist, a deceptor, basically a Decepticon, someone that transforms. Anyone that's dishonest, not reliable, doesn't tell the fucking truth in your life, get the fuck away from them. There is no real peace in creating pseudo harmony in your reality during this time, holding on to bullshit stuff that's not going to take you forward into your future reality. This is about a clean wipe of the subconscious mind, anything that keeps you in the past, keeps you in looping thoughts. This is about stilling the calm waters. Maybe I'm going to show you some water in the background. Oh, how about that? Of the subconscious, calming the stormy seas, so that we can reflect on what is it that we can do better to raise our vibration in this reality. Don't even worry about the future, the manifestation piece yet. What is the thing that we can do just existing in our bodies, in our central nervous system, to show up as a more beautiful, I'll even say it, pristine vibration of ourselves. And so when I say pristine, I fucking mean that if you're fucking with anything that's dark, creepy, and even the stuff on the surface that looks shiny and looks good and looks spiritual and looks like, the Word of God, but it's not. This brings up religion, this brings up media, this brings up spiritual community, indoctrinating people with horse shit. I'm calling out the Burning Man community. I'm calling out basically any motherfucker that is not walking a path of ascension that's based upon the value systems that is authentic and original to them. It is not about fitting in, keeping peace, not rocking the boat, right? Now, it is choosing your battles. It is not being a tyrant, with our words, and just like taking to like social media or media and Twitter and just all these just different things, pointing out the lies that we see in the world. It's about a subconscious accountability that we hold for ourselves, where in every moment, every nanosecond, it is a check-in with your reality. Like, depending upon the severity of things that are not going well in your life, blocks, delays, interruptions, this brings up financial relationship issues, anything that feels misaligned, miscalibrated, misfiring like an engine on a car, to the severity of that, you've got to ask yourself the hard question: am I being delusional right now? Am I really looking at the facts of my reality? And the beauty is that because of the co-creation aspect of your reality, you do get to change that. But the accountability piece is the acknowledgement that's got to come first. If that acknowledgement piece doesn't come, guess what? You're playing into delusion. You're playing into the projected image of what you want to think and feel. You're basically being, if you're listening this far, you're being the guy in the first Matrix movie, Cypher, that, wanted to get reinserted back into the Matrix and eat the steak because it tasted good. And I even see spiritual people banging the drum for one side or the other, for a political party. If you guys haven't woke up to this shit by now, to see that it doesn't matter and they don't give a fuck about us, and that you're not, at a minimum, even if you feel restricted and you can't create in the physical reality because it's not there yet, if you're not using the imagination with this eclipse to have a vision, that you're not projecting your thoughts into something that matters, that is more future generational oriented, then what the fuck are you doing? Spirituality teaches us that we get to be anything that we want. It's boundless, but that also means there's high highs and low lows, but it all looks beautiful in the beginning. So if you're being the spiritual person that's the social justice warrior, that's getting involved into debates and all this other shit that the rest of the collective gets into, and you haven't realized that this astrology is about you being your own spiritual vessel that's authentic, being your own version of your own Jedi, and that it's not to be of service to those that want to be served and protected from the dark bullshit, then what are you doing? And some people do need that lesson. It's not about playing Superman, Superwoman, but it is standing in our authentic truth. This lunar eclipse is intense. All the bullshit's got to go. On a deeper personal level, just again, anything that's our own hypocrisy, our own inner judgments, our own inner criticism, any subconscious programming that's keeping us from levitating into creating, manifesting an experience that is a better reality, a better way forward, that makes an impact, that includes you having to show the fuck up publicly. If it's not that, then your attention is a high likelihood that it gets picked up like, a lost animal by animal control, and you get MK Ultra. The most basic thing I can say here is that people that don't know what the purpose is, they don't know where to put their attention. They get lost in this, especially just media stuff. It's media, it's religion, it's politics. You start thinking that's your purpose. And it's like, didn't we learn our lesson from 2020? People thought, or 2021, people thought their purpose was going to your nearest pharmacy and getting that free thing that was going to save the world. How'd that fucking go? Learn your lessons. Or get the tough lessons. Lunar eclipse in Pisces on Neptune. Thank God it's not closer with Saturn. Thank God we still have until next year before Saturn and Neptune meet and don't have a lunar eclipse there. But that's where it becomes real. The things that I'm saying right now, I'm just sprinkling the intense masculine, poking the bears that need to wake up in the chest and get out of the slumber with this energy to wake up to, like, this is, it's like feel the seed magic. Because what is Pisces too, right? It's like sleeping in, sleeplessness, hibernation. We have to let all that go. First thing I always say with full moons, let alone a full moon lunar eclipse, it's a purge, it's a release. It's the unconscious illumination, what needs to change, especially on an emotional, intuitive front. Because the moon doesn't put out light, only the sun does that. The moon's just a reflector. So it's, I would take this information and I would reflect. I would reflect hard on what to do with it. So, if it were me, so I like to say as an astrologer and a human walking this planet with you all, if it were me, I would use this lunar eclipse to get really quiet, to observe the subconscious programs that are still playing out, and I would act like a hacker meets Neo in the Matrix if you had all the time in the world and there was no rush to spend 2 weeks Control Alt deleting. I wouldn't even really be adding at this time. It's more about the release, like what subconsciously needs to go. And if you want to know what that is specifically for you, you can get a deep dive astrology reading with me. It's $250. They last an hour, a little over an hour. Do them on Zoom. If you're more so just wanting to know about yourself and not so much this cycle, you're just kind of wanting to learn more about you, but not these shifts to make, because it's still, the deep dive astrology reading is still you, but it's also the current you and what guidance is needed there. Just learning about the baseline of you, that's a natal chart reading, and then they have an ebook out too that helps you learn about your natal chart as well. That's $33. All these links will be down below. And then part of this astrology that gets factored into the intensity of this time that I'm describing, like kind of like the Truman Show dome, if you remember that movie. Great movie. It's probably my second favorite to the Matrix trilogy. Well, I guess there's 4 of them now, but they're all good. Is Pluto in Capricorn. That's the Truman Show dome. So I did a $8 special of what that means for your zodiac sign. So you can click on that link down below as well and get the recording. So yeah, that's how to prepare for this lunar eclipse season. Thank you to anyone who put up with my shaky camera as I'm going for a walk. And happy gunting, as they put it in Ready Player One. If you haven't seen it, I would go watch it, because that's a little bit of what people are going to be doing this time, is trying to escape their realities and living in a digital video game like world of their choosing that's not factually based in reality. And that's dangerous because that's how tyrants take over more and more. We lose more and more of our authority, and not just on the outside, but even to our own subconscious nature as humans that, believe it or not, sometimes says they want to be free, but then they don't because the blue pill feels more comfortable.